Man, what's going on, you guys? This is Madam, and I'm back to give my thoughts and opinions on the little video that I put up there. It's 30 seconds about Oprah Winfrey busting her ass. 50 Cent made comments about it. I mean, everybody's talking about it. It seems to be a trigger for everybody, so why not throw my 5 cents in there? Basically, she was at this conference, wellness conference, and the Vision 2020 tour, and she had a little tumble. I mean, people do it every day in their life. You do it a lot when you're a child, a lot when you're older, in between a lot too. So, um, why is this sparking a conversation with so many different subtopics? I mean, I've been sitting in the bushes watching a few people's lives and videos that they've done. Um, though I believe that everybody that made a video had good intentions or had an intention, period. Um, that's why it was made. I just feel like people are taking this like they do every other situation when it has to do with a black celebrity that's well known in the community, that doesn't necessarily support their own, or if they do, they've made comments that were kind of questionable. I heard it was this one live that I was watching, and they were talking about, I think the title of it was everybody coming for Oprah Winfrey, but where's the same energy for white supremacy? And it was like a whole bunch of different subtopics, like Kobe Bryant. They brought up Gail, of course, Oprah, of course, for some reason, the young lady that was tragically murdered down here in Baltimore, and a couple of other stuff all the way around Bill Cosby or whatever. Not to say that it wasn't a good live. It really was a very informative live, in terms of me just seeing where different people's opinions lie and how they really feel about it. But with that being said, um, my opinion, and this is my opinion, I don't mean any malice behind this. I don't look to slander or put another person in the wrong light, but each person should be held accountable. And I do not feel as though you should get a pass because you made it out the hood. Okay? And what kind of inspired me to do this video is that when I first turned on to this one person's live, they had a caller, and what I'm guessing she was an older generation than my generation or the person's live generation. And her viewpoint on it was really, really, really interesting. Um, I'm not going to say what she said verbatim because I'm not going to do that. But essentially, she was saying that the younger kids nowadays, they need to do a better job of, rounding the people in their generation up, and you know, um, you know, trying to help and heal. The same old conversation they said in every generation. You know, I don't know what's wrong with this younger, generation. It's like it's all went to hell, and it's a shame. And then she brought up the thing about the young lady in Baltimore, that got killed in the beauty salon. And as I'm sitting there watching it, I could not help but to, actually look at it like, okay, so, but I understood her point. I'm assuming that her point is that, yeah, it's tragic, people don't kill for nothing. Oh, that never happens in my city. Where I live at, the area that I live at, but it happens in other cities all across the United States. I hope she's aware of that. If it doesn't happen in the area where she chose to live at, it does not mean that it doesn't happen, and similar situations happen like that in different states across the United States, and also abroad. So my whole thing was just like, oh, I don't know what's going on. It's all going to hell, and it's the ma'am. This been going on. This been going on. How many brothers and sisters died in the 60s and 70s? People that were on the right path, doing the right thing, and they were just senselessly murdered because another person's need was so great that they were willing to take another person's life. That doesn't make it right. I'm not sitting here trying to justify that. I will never try to justify that, so please do not take it as I'm trying to justify their actions. But I'm only saying, this is not a new problem. This was probably happening back in the 70s and 80s and 60s and stuff like that. There's a ton of cold cases all across the United States. Well-meaning people, that have done things, senseless murders, because they were put in a dire situation at the time, and they felt that was their only resource to do what they did. Nevertheless, speaking from a personal standpoint, my grandfather was one of those victims. He made his own money. He had a repair shop, and they came to rob him. I think I've told this story before. They came to rob him, and he said, "You're not getting my stuff over my dead body," and they took his life. So, when you say that, do you just mean because it just happened in the city where I live at? Or are you saying that in general, as in the United States? Because if not, I can pull up dozens of cases where people were murdered in different states, and even probably in the state that you live in, where it was a senseless murder, so on and so forth. So um, you miss me with that. I mean, no disrespect when I say that, but you really miss me with that. Crime is everywhere. Violence is everywhere. Gun violence is everywhere. It is prevalent, and it thrives because people in the community fail to take action because they don't want to lose their life. And my whole thing about that is, and this is no shade, if you believe that it is an afterlife, and you believe that there is such thing as reincarnation, or you believe there's such thing as heaven and hell, then you will know that your spirit does not die. Only your body dies. And people are afraid of dying and afraid of ascending to the next level in their spiritual journey, because we're all souls. First and foremost, we are souls with shells, temples. And just like any temple and just like any shell, it wears and tears. Okay? Besides that, it was another statement that was made. Well, it wasn't made by the person that was doing the actual video, but more so like the comment section. I always like to, stay in the bushes and look in the comment section and be like, oh, like, yeah, what's going on with that? And the thing with Kobe, again, this disclaimer, I have nothing against Kobe Bryant. I have nothing against Kobe Bryant's family. My condolences still go out to the surviving members of his family and the people that lost their life in the helicopter crash. Um, One person that was in the comments did make a point though. Why wait until this man is dead to essentially, put your foot on his neck, so to speak? Why would you wait until then to have an issue with Kobe Bryant? As everybody know and has been well publicized, Snoop Dogg had an issue with Gayle King because she chose to um, interview the legendary Lisa Leslie, and asked her questions that she wasn't qualified to answer. She can't speak on that as um, a colleague, former colleague of Kobe Bryant's. Um, it is not her job to give her opinion on a man. And as the old saying go, don't talk ill of the dead. Um, and of course, it was in regarding to the sexual assault case that happened, um, when he was alive and everything like that. My thing is with Kobe, yes, at the forefront, he is a legend in the basketball world, in the basketball community. He has paved his way to be edged among the names of the greatest basketball players of all time. One of, not the, but one of greatest basketball players of all time. But you have to understand, at the heart of it, that they are also human too. They are not gods. They are just people that were fortunate enough to have the right cards and play them to where they became successful. Same thing with Oprah Winfrey. I'm not done with her. Um, with that being said, because he is a celebrity, and he is a legend, not was, is a legend, with the utmost respect, does not lessen some of the comments that he has made, which people conveniently and always conveniently forget, um, you know, and or don't want to speak of because they don't want to cast a negative bone on his legacy or whatever the case was. But the only person that can damage their legacy is them, if they allow it. That's just my opinion. I say that to say because was it he had made some really interesting comments in regards to Trayvon Martin when he was murdered. He was murdered. He was executed by George Zimmerman. And the thing about that was, not saying this verbatim, but what the gist of it is that I got was basically Kobe said, why should we be so quick to jump on the bandwagon, not knowing the circumstances? And if I'm wrong, I can admit when I'm wrong, but this is not verbatim, but this is just what I got from it. The jump on the bandwagon because at that time when Trayvon Martin had died, they had did the infamous and legendary photo with all of them wearing the hoodies. And Kobe, and in Kobe's opinion, he really wasn't. He supported it, but he really wasn't feeling it. I mean, he was just basically saying, "Don't be so quick to jump on the bandwagon, and you don't really, know what happened or whatever the case was." Something to that effect, but I'm not 100%. I want to leave that disclaimer because I already know I'm going to get some slow ones in the back that's going to be up in my comment section talking about, oh, you said it wrong and this, that, and the third. Look, disclaimer. I am not saying anything that I state in this video is not going to be said verbatim. Okay? It's not. It's my interpretation of it. Which makes it my opinion. And if you don't like my opinion, that's totally fine. I don't really care. Anyway, with that being said, he made those comments, and then some people felt like, you know, that's crazy. Why would he make those comments and this, that, and the third? But people conveniently swept that under the rug. Because he is dead does not mean that people don't have memories or people that doesn't have bias. And when I say bias, is because yes, he is a legend. Yes, he will forever be known as one of the GOATs of basketball, one of the greats. So what? He's still human. He was still a human man. He had thoughts and feelings and all this other stuff. Just because he was in a bigger tax bracket than most of us does not reduce the fact that, he did some questionable things in his life. I'm not talking as far as the case that was brought against him with the young lady. I'm going to stay away from that. I'm talking as far as his statements. Let me be clear. His statements that he said in regards to Trayvon Martin. You can Google that, and I'm pretty sure you'll find 100 copies of what he said during that time. I think it was 2013. I believe so. I'm not sure, but you can find that. And then and also in the comment section when I was looking at this person's live, they were also talking about, I don't understand why they had to bring up Oprah when bringing up Gayle and this, that, and the third. Again, my opinion, they are some house niggas. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anybody that took offense to that, but it is what it is. Okay? Because yes, Oprah is also a celebrity in her own right. She has helped tons of people. But what people fail to realize in this, that, and the third, when something happens with a celebrity and their name is attached to it and things like that, people get selective memories on that. I say that to say about one of the schools that she built. There was allegations of sexual abuse in the school. You never heard anything else about that. Or the fact that when she was the weather girl in Baltimore, nobody ever talks about that. If they ever did mention it, it was like very slightly and very lightly when she was a nobody. You know what I'm saying? And when I say these things, I'm not hating on them. I'm not a type of person that's obsessed with money or care about money enough to be like, oh, you fronting on them because, they got money, or you fronting on them because, what so have you, they are successful. It's not about that for me. It's materialistic. You can't take it with you. The real riches in life is your family and what you make your life out of and how you write your story in life. That's the real riches. Family, nothing materialistic. It's about self-improvement and it's about self-elevation. It's not about how many Bugattis you got or Lamborghinis you got in your garage, or how many other famous people you've eaten dinner with, or how many times you've been on TV and how much of your product has sold, and this, that, and the third. People have to get out this idol worship, and it sickens me to still think that people, more so now than ever before, is so stuck. They will follow a person to the ends of the earth because they have success. And there will be some people out there that will say like, oh, okay, well, you know, um, why can't you support your black people and this, that, and the third? Well, just a few minutes ago, not too long ago, I called her a house nigga. And you know what a house nigga is, right? So I'm not going to sit up here and explain why I feel this way about her. Everything you need to know about that, go Google the term I just said. And again, this is just my opinion. Um, Not only her, there's been other people um, in the black community, these so-called legends, revolutionaries, so-called freedom fighters, and uh, things of this nature, and was for the community and tried to uplift the community and this, that, and the third. Some of them made a lot of underhanded deals. Some of them actually literally, excuse me, sold their souls for what they have right now or had, um, at the detriment of their own people. Okay, so miss me with that, oh, you hating on Oprah and Kobe and Gail and this, that, and the third. And my thing with Gail was, um, you was dead wrong. As a journalist, you should know. And it's somebody said this, I don't know if it was on Twitter or on Facebook, but somebody said that exact same thing. And like, I felt every bit of what they were saying. Like, the thing with Gail, as a journalist, any journalist, you notice things that you ask and you notice things that you don't ask. Just like that journalist that was down here in Baltimore, as an example, Murray Bubala, that suggested, when the scandal was going on with the former mayor, Catherine Pugh, is it time for, the way that she said it was, is it time for more leadership? And the reason why people took it as racist was because before she asked that question, she said, the city has been ran by several black leaders, and um, do you feel that it's time for a change? Meaning, is it time for them to hire select a white mayor or something of that nature, and this, that, and the third, um, pointing to the issues that Maryland has had, which is no different from any other state. Don't come for me in my comment section, because I will give you a whole dossier on all your public officials that messed up in your city. Don't try me. But yeah, I know this video is kind of long, but I just really needed to get this out, and possibly I want to do a live about it. Depending on the response that I get, I will do that. Somebody brought up Bill Cosby too, and I'm just like, this is the same person that when he was out, I'm not going to speak on whether he's guilty or he's not guilty. Only thing I will say that back in the 60s and 70s, everybody was doing LSD. Everybody was doing Quaaludes. That's the only thing I'm going to say about that. It's really hard to believe that many women were, drugged into taking Quaaludes if they wasn't even already on the party scene. Janet Dickerson, the self-proclaimed first model, or not first model, she is a model or whatever. Janet Dickerson, I don't know, that's probably her name, but don't quote me on that. That has had a history of drug abuse. But Bill Cosby touched you. Okay, sister girl. Moving on. But excuse me. But I mean, that just goes to show you, regardless of what your race is, people tend to, conveniently slide things underneath of the rug that people have done in their lifetime, Just because they are dead does not mean that people forget. Just because another person has the courage to remind people of the screwed up things that people have said and done that they idolize. And it is idolizing because you're worshiping another person, regardless if you know it or not. Especially if you're going as hard as you are in the comments about that. Um, I have no taste for either of them, any of them. Um, really, in regards, because I don't try to allow myself to get wrapped up into, like, say for instance, oh, I'm a Beehive fan. You know the Beehive, this, that, and the third. Yes, I do enjoy the music. Yes, I do enjoy the artistry. Yes, I do enjoy the commitment that she has when she does songs and she writes songs and she sings them. Yes, I do, but that's not the same as, I'm gonna go hard in the paint. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna turn into on life beef to real life beef. I'm not with none of that. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. And that was just an example. So please, I do not want to see a whole bunch of bees on my Instagram, on my Twitter. Please do not do that, honey, because I'm just blocking all. I'm not even responding. But yeah, I just, it's crazy that you cannot sit up here and have a general opinion about how you feel about certain situations, and people take that the wrong way just because they don't agree with it. Another person that they were talking about also in on the live that I seen was Monique. Okay. Let's get into it, because I love me some Monique. I love me some Mama Moon. She is an elder. Um, very wise. Very wise. And in my opinion, I believe a lot of people came after her and demonized her. Oh, she destroyed her own career because she wouldn't tap dance and shuck and jive for a coin. I mean, let's really get into it, because that's what it's about. A lot of people was mad, oh, she destroyed her own career and this, that, and that woman ain't losing out. That woman ain't starving or nothing. Her name still to this day rings bells. And at the end of the day, no matter what anybody say, you cannot take that award from her or any of the awards that she has received for the movies that she has done. At the end of the day, and that's the same thing for everybody else that name I mentioned. At the end of the day, you cannot, well, if you Bill Cosby, then they'll just start snatching your goddamn degrees like, eek. No shade, all truth. But yeah, like, that's just my opinion. And a lot of people, just, oh, she sabotaged her own career because she wouldn't shuck and jive. Do y'all really listen to what she has been saying? She been telling you about Oprah. She been telling you about Tyler. She been telling you about Lee Daniels. She been telling you about these people. And y'all just, like, don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, no one can ever take away from their craft. It's not about them professionally and what they have done. That doesn't excite me. I don't care. Nevertheless, y'all nailed that woman to the cross, Monique to the cross, because she said she was blackballed by some black motherfuckers. No, she was whiteballed by some black motherfuckers with black dicks. And that just flew right over everybody's head. Ain't none of y'all catch that tea. Ain't none of y'all catch that tea. And this is why I call them house niggas. I'm just saying, if you're going to talk about community, if you're going to talk about how you feel about a certain situation or whatever the situation is, and you're not actively doing something to change your community and don't have a fear of losing your life because you were in service of the betterment of your community, and don't use the excuse of, that's why when black people, become famous and stuff, they don't never go back to their communities. They don't never go back to the hood. We all should get out the hood and this, that, and the third. Honey, you gotta know the history of how the hood was created to even make a statement about the hood, first and foremost. Just like in slavery, we were given something that bonded us under the guise that it will help people as a stepping stone to a better way of life. Okay? But in that reality, it was made to further keep us in a, a state, being stagnant. Um, you understand? Everybody's goal is not um everybody's goal is not the same. Everybody is not the same. Everybody, it's really contradictory when people say, oh, people just feel some type of way because they rich and they the goat and they love them and this, that, and third, and blah 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 blah. And your situation is more closer to mine than it is to theirs. Trust and believe. You might be a little better off. You might not be a little better off, but trust and believe there's no difference. Because if you really wanted to get out the hood, you would pack your things and leave and never come back. Okay? You can't speak for everybody, and I think that's the problem that we have in this community, that we try to speak for everybody when you should really just be speaking for yourself. Work on self. Sweep in front of your front.